It's not really my favorite shotgun in the game, but like as far as shotguns go, I mean, as you can see, it's good. Hey guys, I'm recording this later, but make sure to comment your questions down below for a Q&A. This can be about the game. It can be like, what is your favorite gun? Like, what's the best gun in the entire game, or something like that. Like, what's the best pistol? It can be a question for me or about the game. We'll be making a full video on that soon, so make sure to comment your questions down below. Let's get into the video. So hello gamers, and welcome to a very, very special kind of video. Basically, I have 99 kills on the Boxy Buster and 95 kills on the NTW. Basically, I'm about to get 100 on both of these guns, and it doesn't sound like very many kills, and it's not. However, these are the 2 final kill guns until I have 100 kills on every single gun in this entire game, including secondaries. So I wanted to talk about basically what I learned from getting 100 kills on every single gun, what guns I found really annoying to get 100 kills on, especially these 2 guns, and what guns I actually found were surprisingly good. So lots of underrated guns in this video, and just talking about like what guns are actually good to farm up kills on. Let's just try to get a couple more kills on the NTW, and then I'm going to talk about a highlight of some of my guns that I had some problems with. Our first one is definitely the NTW, probably my least favorite sniper in the game. I find this more annoying to use than the BFG, even though it does limb kill all ranges. It has the annoying thing where if you're not crouching, you can't aim. Overall, I really just wasn't enjoying this gun very much, and that's why it ended up being the second to last one. Keep in mind, I haven't actually gotten 100 on every single gun yet until I get the Boxy Buster. Gotta get 1 kill. It was kind of like a personal challenge, and then I turned it into a thing that I was publicly doing. I talked about it in videos before, but I didn't really make any kind of content out of it. I was just doing it for fun. And then I ended up streaming it, and it was really fun as well. Basically, a lot of primaries that I don't really like using or just hadn't used. A lot of guns that I actually found were pretty good, such as the G36. I didn't actually have 100 kills on G36 and FAL 50, and I was like, wow, these are good guns. I had to get 100 kills on both of the gyrojet guns, and that was really, really interesting. That was a different experience for me as well, and I realized those are really, really good guns if you put in the time. And now I have 100 kills on NTW. Please, Boxy Buster, please, 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 stop moving, dude. Oh, I hit him. Oh, and we got elite darts on the Boxy Buster, and that's it. We did it. The final gun was the Boxy Buster. Very swage. I probably shouldn't get another kill because I want to just have 100. When this challenge started, I already had 100 kills on a lot of different guns. I actually had to get 100 kills on the AUG one, which turned out to be very, very good. Now, the M16A4, I was like, you know what? A little bit too annoying to use. But then after 100 kills, I was like, I can actually burst this thing now, and it actually became not necessarily broken, not super overpowered. Like some people will say like it's the best assault rifle. I wouldn't say it's the best assault rifle in the game, but based off of stats, it is very, very strong if you're pretty good at using it. They are going to nerf the 223 extended mag on basically every M16 variant, including the A4 for no reason, because that wasn't even the meta. The A4 with the extended mag was not even helpful at all, but yeah, this can kill from some pretty crazy ranges if you're using 25-45, and yeah, this gun actually was like, wow. I was actually kind of blown away by how easy it is to use, because most of the burst weapons are like, okay, these are too difficult. I'd used other G36 variants, especially MG36 and the G36K. I had like 1,000 on each of those. The G36, like the original one, I never really vibed with this one like a ton, you know. It's just like, this is a good gun. It can 4-shot kill all ranges, and it turned out that this was something I overlooked a little bit much, because the 4-shot kill all ranges is really good, and I can see why people say that this is better than the L85 now, because yeah, the L85 is a lot more accurate, but this does have a little bit more RPM, a bit more damage, and it's not too far off. It's actually pretty accurate, and it has a lot of camera recoil, so if you do run the folding grip on it, it's actually pretty good. One of the few guns that I'm actually like, folding grip is good. The camera recoil is quite a bit, and it kind of goes down when you put on folding, because with stubby, it becomes more accurate, but it doesn't feel that accurate, and the folding grip really helps you to just hit your shots. I was super happy with how this one performed. If I'm going to be real, it was probably one of the easiest 100 kills of my life on any of these guns in this challenge, because most of the super easy guns I'd already gotten 100 kills on in the past, you know, because like it's 100 total kills, not 100 new kills or anything. It was just guns that I hadn't really used before. And the G36 is actually not overrated at all. It's just a good gun. Skipping past that, the next gun I had to get 100 kills on was the Type 88. And back then, I think when I did this, it was a long time ago, before I actually was a featured stylist content creator and had a lot of credits, because basically stylist now gives me credits and I could buy attachments. But back then, I was actually using the Type 88 default, no Type 58, for 100 kills. And I did figure out that Reg Mag is 100% worth it. Still sucks with Reg Mag. However, the recoil is a lot better with the Reg Mag than with the 100 rounds or whatever, 75 rounds, whatever it is. And that turned the Type 88 from completely unusable into somewhat fine, I guess, but just still really trash. They are going to be buffing Reg Mag, but at the moment, it's definitely 7.62. That's the best thing you can possibly use. If you're going to use anything, use 7.62. But Reg Mag was not too bad. Getting 100 kills on this gun was kind of tedious. Without 7.62, with 7.62, it would be so easy. The STG 44 and G11 came pretty fast for me. STG N was really good for this, and the default gun was just really good overall. For PDWs, I didn't really have that many except the Rama. Now, the Rama was really interesting to me because what I didn't know about this gun is that its initial recoil is actually super low, but then it starts going up and up and up. So initially pulling down and not spraying for too long makes the recoil very accurate, and that made this gun actually have its own like skill gap for me, because this is with muzzle booster, by the way. It's very fast firing. When it gets its buff, it's going to be really good. For 80 rounds, it has a fast reload, but it doesn't feel like a super spammy gun, because if you spam it, you're kind of rewarded for not spamming. It's really cool because I just didn't feel like this gun was very good at all when I was initially using it, and then I was like, wait, this is actually not bad. Not the best gun in the game, but it's actually not too trash, and it just feels pretty nice to use, which is surprising considering it has 24 max damage. It's going to have 25 in the future and 15 min, which means it is going to be able to 4-shot kill anywhere, which is really cool. Another gun I got 100 kills on was the Tommy gun. I did it without any attachments, and I actually figured out that the Tommy gun is pretty nice. It doesn't do the best damage. It does pretty good damage for 45. It does like 37, so it's a 2-shot head, like a 3-shot body, but it doesn't really shoot the fastest, but it's very accurate for like what it is. And overall, this was really fun. With the 20 round mags, it reloads very fast, and it made it really fun to use. The final one I think in the PDWs was MP5, and I have so many MP5 SD kills, but like no MP5 kills, and that's because I personally just prefer the sound effect of the MP5 SD, which is funny because I'm like the guy who's like, no, don't use suppressors on anything, and then I use the suppressed version that's objectively worse, but it's fine. The MP5, I was incredibly surprised with how just insane the performance of this gun is. I mean, I knew it was really good, but like this gun, it has an awful 3-hit kill range, and it doesn't fire super fast, and it still does 19 minimum damage, but the thing about it is like 800 RPM, no recoil, and that's it. Insane damage ranges as well. It's just a really good gun. DMR was a very interesting one because most of the DMRs I do have quite a few kills on, but the guns I did have to get kills on was the TCR, the M21, and the MSG90. Now, the one that I found the most just performance overall out of was definitely the TCR. TCR is mega underrated. Like, a pretty fast reload, really high RPM for what it is, 1-shot headshot to like 100 studs, and really good body damage. It can also 2-shot to the torso, all ranges, and 3-shot anywhere in the body, all ranges. And this gun just goes, dude. A gun that I thought I was going to use a lot more was the M21. When this gun first came out, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I realized that the TCR is kind of just better. Like, the TCR shoots faster, does more damage, and just doesn't have the stupid slow RPM that this gun has. Like, this gun, you can shoot it pretty fast if you're getting like the full RPM down, but it's just not amazing. And it's very surprising because I thought if they were going to add a new DMR to the game, it was going to be like a very good DMR and good in its own way, but like there was already kind of a better version of it in the game. MSG90, I realized, is always good. Like, it just has the headshot kill and stuff. It's a good DMR. It is going to get completely rebalanced in the future, but if you like the old MSG90, don't worry, they do have a conversion that makes it basically the old version again. And this gun I was very surprised with because unlike something like the PCR, which kind of just has better stuff, it does have some interesting things that make it completely different in terms of its upsides from other versions of the gun. It does less damage and fires slower than the TCR. However, it does have incredible velocity and a really fast recovery speed, which makes it really good. I don't know, the recoil feels really good on it, and it's definitely not a bad DMR. Shotguns, I didn't really have to do anything too much for. Stuff like the DT11 and stuff I had already used a decent amount, so I didn't really need to do anything. And Carbine was a very interesting one because I found stuff like the AK-12C to actually be pretty good. The AK-12C was never just a gun that I found to be very good, a very overlooked and underrated gun because it reloads really fast, but it still does the good damage that you would expect from something like it. It does 35 to 21, which is not the best damage for a 7.62, but it can almost 2-shot kill head, 5-shot kill all ranges, has a good 3-hit kill range, 700 RPM, and a really fast reload, and 1.5 studs a pen. So it's got like overall really good stats. The recoil is kind of annoying, but if you're in CQC, it is a very good gun for feeds because of the reload time, because it's actually the fastest reloading AK variant in the entire game, I believe. Like, there's a couple of guns that are close, like AK-12 is like 0.1 seconds behind it, but it is the fastest, and it does have the upsides of like more pen than other guns and stuff like that. That makes it really good, and I got 100 kills on it. I was like, you know what, this is not a bad gun. It's not the best gun in the game or anything, but it's got the default 30 round mag, it's got like the RPM and stuff, and it's just an AK-12 but more damage. The Jury was another Carbine that I had to get 100 kills on. I just didn't really like this one the most. It was alright. It wasn't the best gun to get 100 kills on. It's not really my favorite shotgun in the game, but like as far as shotguns go, I mean, as you can see, it's good. They are going to be nerfing this thing along with the other shotguns, and of course the default ammo does like headshot kill low ranges and stuff, but like that's more the CAC. The CAC is just that gun for me, and I think I already had 100 kills on the CAC. Didn't really get 100 kills on the CAC for this video, just got 100 kills on the CAC because I could, because it was a fun gun. The reload time of this gun, the RPM is okay, but like the reload, that's the thing about it. It's just the reload is just kind of slow, and like the handling isn't really the best. But yeah, overall it's pretty good. Gyrojet Carbine, not much to report here. You guys already know about the gyrojets. Another interesting one was the HK51B, which is actually a very, very solid gun, just because it's like the HK21 where it's just like point at a man and they die. But as far as like carbines go, it does kill very, very fast, has like awful ranges and stuff. I already talked about this one in my underrated guns video, so if you guys want to know more about this gun, just watch that video. Another gun that I had to get 100 kills on was the AK-105, and keep in mind I did this with no attachments, which was probably one of the worst decisions of my entire life. It was back when I didn't have a bunch of credits, and basically I was like, you know what, I have like 40k credits that I grinded on myself, and I don't want to spend it on a setup on a gun that I don't really like. And the default gun is getting a buff, but not much of a buff, and it sucks. Let's be real, it's not a good gun. The default AK-105 is just awful, but Bars Barrel and 5.56 is really good on this gun. Now another one that I actually had a lot more fun than I thought I would. Initially I had like no fun with this gun, but then I actually started having fun with it, was the 1858 Carbine, which I have a lot of kills on the Henry, but I never really found this one to be that fun. This is basically a Henry with like slightly better stats, but like awful torso kill range, and it just looks kind of dorky, and the irons aren't that good, so I really wasn't having that much fun with this gun. But after like 40 or so kills, I was like, wait a minute, this is actually really, really fun to use. Might not be the best, I just don't feel like it's better than the Henry, but as far as like snipers go, this is pretty good as a budget sniper. MC51SD was pretty cool. This is not my actual setup on the gun, not much to report here, but it was pretty fun. I actually didn't have 100 kills on any of the RPKs, and I got 100 kills on all three of them, and I found that I didn't really like the RPK-12. RPK with hollow point, I've talked about this in so many videos, is really good, but most importantly, I did find that the RPK-74 might be the best gun in the entire game. You know, like certain guns, for example, RPK-12, Scar Hammer and stuff have been nerfed. However, this has only gotten better in the past couple of years. Pretty good RPM, pretty big mag, very fast reload for 45 rounds, but most importantly, it has pretty low recoil, and 2-shot headshot to about 90 studs, and 3-shot anywhere on the body to about 100 studs, which is a lot farther than any gun similar can currently do in this game. Basically just like a side grade to the old versions like Scar Hammer and AUG H-Bar and things like that, which is pretty crazy because those guns were really, really good, and they got nerfed because they were just broken. This can 2-shot head, which none of them could ever do that, and it has the same RPM as the Scar Hammer and AUG H-Bar, and like a faster reload, more damage. They are really, really good, but the RPK-74 might be better. Now, battle rifles was interesting because the only one I really had to do was the FAL-50. The reason I didn't really have that many kills on the FAL-50 is because I had a ton on the FAL-50 6.3 Para, and I was like, I don't really feel like using FALs anymore, so I just never got any kills on this one. And using this with no attachments was actually pretty fun. It has the annoying reload time and a lot more recoil than the FAL-50 6.3 Para, but as far as damage goes, this is really good. 700 RPM, but it can 3-shot to the torso at any range, which makes it really, really fast time to kill at basically any range. It's like a third of a second any range if you get 3 shots in a row to the torso, which is not really going to happen that often. But for example, you got the FAL-50 6.3 Para. It can 4-shot if all of them are a torso and 5-shot otherwise, and this is basically always a 3-shot, so at range this is a lot better. But obviously it does have some downsides. Overall they're really balanced, except 45 is really broken, but that's getting a nerf, so that's fine. I'm still not a huge fan of this one, but I did find out that it was pretty good. As far as FALs go, it's arguably the best one, but literally any FAL is arguably the best FAL because they're actually like different in their own ways, surprisingly, and they actually have upsides and downsides, so that's really cool. I also did get 100 kills on the HK417, which was just an alright gun. Feels basically like the FAL-50, very similar damage, however just slower RPM and I guess better recoil, but still not the best recoil. It has a lot of like rotational recoil into your face. I don't know, maybe it's like transitional. I don't know what recoil type this is, but it's very annoying. That feels like rotational to me. So maybe pistol grip is okay, but like the thing about this gun is just it doesn't really feel that good to shoot because of the recoil and like how the recoil works and everything. But it is not a bad gun by any means. It's actually really solid. It just feels like a slight Scar H side grade, maybe upgrade depending on how you look at it, but like it's a good gun. I mean, look at this, dude. For snipers, it was the WAD 2K, which was very easy. Steyr Scout, which I did talk about how I actually was having a lot of fun with it. FT300, I did with the 1-shot conversion, and that was really interesting because it wasn't the best, but it was alright. And NTW, as I've said, very, very annoying. I don't really like this gun, but it didn't take too long. Now I think it's time we talk about some of the secondaries. M9 and Glock 17 were actually really, really fun. Even without 50 GI, the Glock 17 was really good. It actually just felt strong enough if you just hit your shots, and while the ranges aren't the best, it does feel pretty good for CQC. The KG99 I had basically no fun with. If you guys were in my streams, you know I wasn't really having a lot of fun with this gun. It feels kind of like a Glock, but the recoil just doesn't make it feel that strong. Even though it's very similar to a Glock, I guess it can't two-shot headshot, so the damage was just not the best for me. But overall, it wasn't too bad. The Zip, I actually got 100 kills passively pretty easily. I think I did like the last 20 on stream, and it wasn't even that difficult. The Zip is not too bad if you hit your headshots. Obviously, it's not really the best. Then you had the Ishvabesk or whatever it's called. This one was actually really solid. I talked about it. It's very underrated. Not the best, but it's pretty good. And of course, the Makarov, I also did this very similar to the Ishvabesk. Felt just about the same. Although I will say hitting headshots, the Ishvabesk is quite a bit better. The Makarov does feel a lot better to the body, and it wasn't too bad. The GB22 I also did on stream. With 50 cal, it wasn't too bad. The Gyrojet Mark 1 was surprisingly pretty solid. Objectively speaking, it was really good, but like, I didn't really have the most fun with it, but it's okay. Boxy Buster was actually really fun, but very difficult. Nice test of skill. The only machine pistol I had to get 100 kills on was the Micro Uzi. Now, the Micro Uzi was kind of interesting because it was actually like, even after the buff, it didn't really feel the best. Definitely is very good for CQC, but for the extra 100 RPM and like the 3-shot kill over like Glock 18, it just didn't feel like enough. But overall for CQC, it was a lot better than other machine pistols in the game. So I will say this was actually like not too bad. Definitely was more of a pocket secondary. I did pull out 45 per second. Didn't really have a ton of fun with that one. It didn't really feel that good. Revolvers, I did do the Mateba. It definitely wasn't that good. Red Hawk was actually really solid. I did actually end up pulling out this loadout for it, which is DDHV Reflex, a long barrel, and green laser. And the headshot kill range is really good. If you are hitting headshots, this is a really solid pistol. Revolver, I mean, but to the body, it just doesn't perform super well because of the RPM. The spammable revolvers are probably better. Not Mateba though. Like Mateba is just worse than this. This is getting another buff, which is really interesting because it got a buff in the past, and now it's getting a very fast reload time, which is going to be really interesting. I had to do Judge and Executioner. Now, the Executioner was pretty average. Statistically speaking, it's very good, but I'm not really a fan of it. But the Judge was really fun. It has pretty awful handling, and I had to take off the Taurus barrel because of it. But if you play this correctly, it can be like better than the Executioner because of the RPM difference and the fact that it can limb kill, but like it's not going to always kill because it is a shotgun and it is going to get a nerf, so it's probably not going to be quite as good as it was when I was making this video, which is nice because I made the video before all these guns got nerfed. The coil gun I just did, and I did find out it is still better than the E-gun in my opinion, especially with like my best setup loadout on it. It is actually a pretty solid gun. It's not like the best. It's definitely not like a super viable pistol, but it performs well enough that it's actually usable, which is surprising because I don't think it was actually added to the game to ever be like super good, but it's not too bad. The last two I had to get was the Saiga 12U and the Obrez. Saiga 12U was really fun at first when I was only using the 2-round mags. Definitely better to use the 5s, but the 2-round magazines are really fun because they reload so fast, but the gun is really just better with the extended mag. Last up was the Obrez. This was my final setup, which was Coyote, long barrel, and green laser. I'm glad this gun is getting a buff. It's really good right now. The choke wasn't really much of a problem, if I'm gonna be real, but yeah, hopefully the buff to it makes it a little bit more used. Definitely wasn't the worst gun in the entire game or anything, but I'd probably rather just 2-tap people with the XI exit range than attempt to get a 1-shot headshot from this gun because it's really fun and it is pretty good, like a pocket scout basically, but it's just not for me, I guess. Anyways, gamers, there you have it. I got 100 kills with every single gun in the entire game. I had quite a lot of fun with it, but anyways, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and sub, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.